What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joey,
It's your girl, Just Shay.
and this is the Use Your Power podcast. And today's topic: passions and priorities. What really matters to you, right? So, um, today's topic is more or less about a post I had written and a thought I had um, during the week, and my thought was this. And I'm reading directly from the post I made. It says, according to Ecclesiastes 10 and 19, money answers all things, right? Paul tells Timothy in 1 Timothy 4 and 8, bodily exercise profiteth little or profits little.
Mhm.
Even in scripture, we understand that finances matter. Health matters, right? But why do we attach so much of our worth to how much money we have or how we look? Why is it that we value most those who have these and we look down upon those who don't? So we're going to that's the premise of today's conversation, right? So Shay, what are
Mhm.
your initial thoughts?
Okay, so my initial thoughts, disclaimer first. I have to read things sometimes a few times, but this one, I think I just kind of got it when you had wrote it. I was like, okay, basically, what I got from it is like we are prioritizing the wrong things when it comes to wanting a particular someone to be with in a relationship. For example, I know a lot of times women, and I'm gonna speak for the women because I am a woman. I can't speak for the men. Well, I can speak for the men a little bit,
No,
but
no, you can't. No, you can't.
and I'll tell you why later. Why I can speak for the men, but for the
No.
women, for the women, I'm gonna say, for example, especially when it comes to the church community, we're concerned about being the man being a provider. That's like the number one thing. Like, well, and not saying like he has to make six figures, all that. People have their preference, right? But a lot of times, women want to make sure that he can provide for a family. If you can't take care of a family, you can't take care of a man. Now, I think that in California today, it takes about two incomes to provide for a family. Unless you have a blessed man who makes a lot of money, six and
Oh,
seven and eight figures.
he
A
blessed.
blessing.
He
He's
blessed
blessed.
because he makes 6, 7 figures.
Well, I'm saying that to say a lot of women are not being stay-at-home moms because of that. You don't see a lot of that because of the cost of living is just ridiculous in California, right? Um, and for me, I'm gonna say for me, that's not something I look for. Mind you, I do want a man to have a job, but I can't say necessarily he needs to provide because I have my own job too, and I can't see myself being a stay-at-home mom. That's just not in my spirit. I like to work. I like to stay busy. I like to work. I actually like working. Now, the type of work I do, that's a whole different story, but I don't mind waking up every day going to work. I tried the stay-at-home mom thing when I was on maternity leave. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't. That's not in my spirit. I thought it was gonna be for me. I said, "Oh no, this is for the birds. I'm not built for this. I'll see y'all kids after work. I can't do this. So that's what I got from it. Basically, like being shallow and prioritizing the wrong things when it comes to relationships, especially things that don't matter and that's gonna make a long-standing relationship. That's what I got from your post. And to
So
break, go ahead.
okay, so let's deal with that first, right? Let's deal with the money aspect of it. Um, should a man be a provider? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean, if a man that doesn't take care of his own, the
It's worse
Bible
than an
says it's worse
infidel.
than an infidel, right? He's worse than an
Absolutely.
unbeliever. Um, we have an obligation to provide for our families. If a man is unwilling to work, then he shouldn't eat either, right? Um, So men do have an obligation to be providers. Now, does that mean that he has to be the sole provider? And I think that is the issue. It's not good enough for many women that a man is able to take care of at the very least himself, right? It's not good enough that he has a stable job. It's not good enough that he has his own place, that he has his own transportation, that he's able to take care of himself and his own responsibilities. Women want a man who can also take care of her, right? There's a term we hear in social media a lot now called soft life.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so
Soft life.
women want to live the soft life, so to
Yeah,
speak,
yeah.
right? They want a man who provides for them and takes care of them. And it's interesting to me how we always talk about six figures, right? And I don't know how far six figures goes in some states. It doesn't go that far. At least the what most people have the ability to make in the range of six figures, you might make $100,000 a year. It ain't that much in California, right?
It's not.
150,000. Yeah, it's cool. But how soft you gonna be living with a man that makes 100? Let's say 150 grand is good money, right?
It is.
150 grand
In
a year.
Atlanta?
No, it's okay here, right? But my thing is, how soft you think your life is gonna be with a man who makes six figures? I watched something on YouTube the other day, and it was on a show. They were talking about they had it was a woman who was talking to somebody, and she was saying how she expects a man to take care of her, and she expects this man to give her an allowance each month. And so the person that she was talking to asked, well, how much do you think your allowance should be? And she was like 5,000 a month.
Where,
And I
where
was,
are y'all
yeah,
finding these women? Like, what?
right. And she was dead serious.
1,000 a month?
And so
That's
the whole
somebody's mortgage.
the and so it was fun. I laughed because of what the people that were reacting to the video were saying, who were both former professional athletes. And one of them was like, yeah, she ain't getting that. She ain't getting that from nobody. And he was essentially just being mean about it because of the way she looked. But yeah, he's like, yeah, she ain't getting that.
Wait a
But
minute. Somebody said the way you look is is going to determine basically your allowance. How you look is going to determine how much allowance you're going to
you
get.
know what?
I've read that in the comment before when it comes to men.
So okay. So I'm not unshallow, right? I can be as shallow as
Not
any other
unshallow.
any other guy, but I would say that I don't think how you look is going to determine your allowance if you got an allowance, right? If you were in that situation with a man that's going to take care of you, I don't necessarily think that um that would determine it, right? It's like, oh, my wife look good, but she ain't no dime, so she only gonna get, you know what I'm saying? Like that would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
that would be
yeah.
crazy.
That
So
would
I
be
don't
crazy.
necessarily, I'm thinking maybe initially when you meet her, it's like, oh, this one's a baddie. I'm gonna have to give her a couple extra bucks.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's how some dudes think. I don't know. But the interesting thing about the show is like he was like, she ain't gonna get that. But the thing is, people don't really count up the cost of anything. It's like for her to throw out some arbitrary number like $5,000 a month. I'm like, ma'am, do you realize that $5,000 a month as an allowance is how crazy that is?
Mhm.
Like that's $60,000 a year.
That's someone's income.
That's more than the average person in America. That's more than they make in a year.
Mhm.
And you want that kind of money as an allowance. Do you know how much money that meant? First of all, let's go to the $150,000 figure,
So
right?
yes.
Let's say this man makes 150 grand. That's pretty decent money. That means he's making what? Like over 12 grand a month. right? And then he's making over $12,000 a month. You want 5,000 of that, right? So that's already taking him down to 7 grand.
Wow.
But we haven't even considered taxes, right? So if you take away, let's say 25% of his 12 grand a month for taxes, now we're down to what? 1,200, 2,400. Let's just say 3 grand, right? So he went from 12 to 9. You took 5. Now he got 4 left. $4,000 left after taxes, right? Just round figures. He got 4 grand left to do what with?
Take care of the house.
He got to take care of everything else. That means he got to pay his mortgage if he has one, or the rent. He's making that kind of money. He probably owns a home. So he has to pay the mortgage, the gas, electricity, car notes if you have them, which he probably does, insurance, right? Cell phone bills, gas in the car, food in the house. You know what I'm saying? All these different things he has to pay. He can't pay all that with that 4 grand.
No way.
He can't pay all that with that 4 grand. You want 5 grand a month. No, right? It's not realistic. You need a man that makes at least $250,000 a year. Who's making that? Right? Who's making that? You're talking now, you start talking about that kind of money. A lot of times you're talking about people in the 1%. People think that the 1% is all rich people. That's not really the case.
Middle class, right? Isn't it the middle class?
If you have a family income of like $250,000, that's basically upper middle class.
Yeah.
Right? The 1% though, even like the 1%, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's people who income exceeds $300,000 a year.
Right.
So the kind of money you're talking about is 1% money. You want a $5,000 a year, a $5,000 a month allowance. And granted, this is just one, hypothetical scenario. You want a $5,000 a month allowance. What you're saying is you want a millionaire who can afford, somebody who makes at least like $500,000 or more, $1 million a year. Because who else can afford to give you just 5 grand and say, here, baby, go blow this every month? You know what I'm saying? I got you.
Right. Okay. Well, let me say something. I want to make 2 comments concerning the whole money topic. The first comment is majority of the women who are requesting these ridiculous figures, and excuse my language because this is a Christian podcast. I'm not going to cuss, but I'm going to say something. Are typically the ratchet women who are asking for these types of things. And when I say ratchet women, I'm saying women who don't have any class, women who, oh Lord, forgive me, who are on the bus, women who maybe on the county, women who they can only dream that to even reach that type of money, they have to get it through men. And I think you have to look at the demographics when it comes to what type of women are asking for these ridiculous figures. And granted, you have some that look very nice and who are classy and whatever who want the same thing. So it kind of goes like across the board, it's probably more than 50% of women asking for this, but that 40% or 30%, it's some nice ladies out there who are not thinking about making 7 figures. I'm just saying.
Let me say this as a man who's, still currently single in a relationship, but still single, right? Or I just mentioned that because I've dated a lot in the past. One of my homies asked me, he said, is it really as bad as we read on social media? My answer to him was, for the most part, no. Right. I don't think it's as bad as social media would have you to believe, right? Mm-hmm. There are, and since we're talking about women, there are a lot of decent women out there. There are a lot of good women that really just want a decent man, right?
Yes.
Most
Yes.
most and I will say from my experience, right? Now I don't I'm not dating, or haven't dated like women who are I haven't dated women who are super shallow. And one of the things for me is that once I see that, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's easy to figure out off top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just keep it a stack. They're gonna probably run from me faster than I'm gonna run from them, right? I don't, because I'm not the type of like, there's nothing like, when you look at me, there's nothing that suggests that I have money, right?
Okay, I get what you're
So
saying. Yeah.
yeah, I don't have money like that. So there's nothing about me that suggests that I have money. Even if I had money, there's probably not going to ever be anything that outwardly shows, oh, this dude got some bread. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? If anything, it might be how I would carry myself, but I don't show money, right? So those kind of women are not going to gravitate towards me, right? I'm not going to be their cup of tea. Number two, even if I had it, because of my personality and how I am, um, a lot of times women in those situations want men who are pushovers. They don't just want a man with money. They want a man who's willing to blow his money on her.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Got you.
watching, so they had this little show on YouTube with the balloon pop and stuff, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
was watching one. It was a reaction video to one of those, and this one particular woman, she was being shallow, right? And the crazy thing is, the dude, he owns his own trucking company. He's a dog breeder, and he has some other kind of business, right? So dude
He's a jack of all trades.
he got bread, right?
Okay.
He don't look like much. He came up there in jeans and a trucker hat and carrying his little foo dog, it was like, and you know what I'm saying, man, she popped the balloon on this cat, and then he was real low key, so he didn't really say a whole lot. But then, like, it was something that happened where she was just saying, he not my type, and you not my type, and da 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 da, like whatever. And so I guess he got sick of it. He was like, well, you're not really, and he said it real low key, real chill. He said, I mean, you're not really my type either. Your butt don't match your legs. I was, and so, and he just was real matter of fact about it.
Oh my
And so then she just starts going off, and she went off on this dude, and she was talking, see this chain and da da da, and you broke, and so one of the things, the reason I brought that up
Oh,
is
Lord
because
have
one of the
mercy.
things she mentioned was wanting a man. Basically, they don't just want a man with money; they want a man that's going to spoil them.
Mm-hmm.
I.e., I'm going to spend all my money on you.
I.e., daddy issues.
Yeah, maybe, right? So it's like they don't just, it's not good enough to just have the money. To um they want it to be spent on them. They want these men to lavish them with nice things. And the thing is, they want them to do that all the time. Right? They don't want to build up to it. They don't want to earn that. It's like, well, I was watching another one of those videos, and the guy asked the woman, he said, in 2 years, what do you want? And then, well, what do you, in those same 2 years, what do you expect to bring to the table? Her response was every man's favorite response: I am the table. And it's like, that means you're bringing nothing. Okay. So if a woman ever says, I am the table, you're bringing nothing. That's essentially, I don't even think women realize it. When you say, women, listen to me good. If a man asks you, what are you bringing to the table? And you say, I am the table, you literally are saying, I am bringing nothing. If let's say I'm married, right? And I ask my wife, so what are you bringing to the table, right? I.e., what are you bringing to the table so we can eat? What's for dinner? And you say, I am the table, right? I am the plate. I am the fork, I am the spoon, so that means we're not eating, right?
Right.
We're
Yeah,
not going
I
to
get what you're
eat
saying.
because you're not
Yeah.
bringing anything.
Right.
So if a man or if a woman asks you, what are you bringing to the table, you have to tell them what qualities you possess, right?
Absolutely.
What are you doing? What are you bringing to the relationship that's going to make my life better, my life easier, that's going to make me happy? These are things that we're asking. So anyway, that's it. Back to the money topic. We done got off on the
Right.
tangent.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So let me just bring this back in. Money matters, right? Because we got to eat, we got to have a roof over our head, we got to have clothes, we got to have transportation. If we have them, we got to take care of our children. Money matters. But we also live in a world where our economy is becoming worse and worse. Things are more and more expensive. And it, it requires multiple incomes, not just
Right.
multiple streams. Because, like, let's be honest, there are people with 9 to 5s that have second and third or whatever, however many streams of income, but those streams are just streams. They're not a flow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you trickling in money. You may not
Mhm.
even be consistently bringing money in from that other stream, right?
Of income.
And you got a lot of people that tell you they have these other streams, but they just say that to sound busy and sound like they got something going on when ultimately
Really
they
don't.
really don't. So money matters, right?
Okay.
Let me say this: money answers all things, but as my former pastor Bishop Queen used to say, money answers all things that money can answer, right? Keep that in context because people quote that from the Bible. Money does answer all things, but money answers all things that money can answer. Because we know in Scripture you can't buy salvation, right?
Right.
But you can buy a lot of other things. So money does matter. Let's just be clear on that. But how much does it matter? How much should it matter? How much should that factor in
In
how
a
you
relationship.
view other people, not in relationships
Or
or
just
just
people.
friendships or
Yeah, that's
period?
true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's so true. Um, let's get into the physical. And like I said, I was gonna come back to I can speak for the men to a certain extent because of my experience with men concerning my physical appearance.
Okay.
That's why I can speak for men. Um Now we're just talking about relationships as far as being with somebody, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. This is the physical aspect of it. For women, a woman can be with a man who on the previous shows we call ugly cuz. They can be with ugly cuz with no problem because a lot of times women kind of doctor their men up over time. Like and when I say that, I'm saying like if you're with the man and you don't particularly like his style, most women do the shopping and stuff. They would, oh honey, I like this sweater or I like these shoes, whatever. You can kind of doctor him up. And if his teeth is not, men don't like to go to the doctor. So I'm sure they don't go to the dentist. If his teeth is not right, like most women kind of doctor their man up. Take him to the dentist, get his teeth fixed, put him in the nice clothes that you like to see him in, whatever. So we can deal with ugly cuz because over time, ugly cuz don't turn into to cute cuz because we fix this man up. A lot of
So
women do that.
wait. So if I'm in a relationship and the woman I'm with is constantly telling me to wear certain colors and certain things, that means
That means
she don't.
she likes you in those colors. She likes to see you in those colors.
So
For
she
instance,
trying to change me. She trying to change.
no, that's not what you so stupid. Don't
She
be a
can't
little girl.
accept me for who I am.
Okay, you a mess. Okay, for instance, I'm gonna tell you like my mom. She doesn't like facial hair. My dad and most women love facial hair,
Your mom
but
tripping.
she tripping. But I told her I think my theory is I don't think she want other women looking at her man. So my dad was like, "Oh, that's probably it," and I was like, "Yeah, I think that's what it is, Daddy." But anyway, so because she doesn't like facial hair, my dad keeps a shave like clean shaved face.
Didn't your daddy used to have a beard before he met your mama?
I believe so, but she didn't like it.
I gotta.
Hello.
She liked it. Ain't no way she
I
didn't
don't
like
think
it.
she liked it. She doesn't like it now. So I'm saying that to say, and then also my daddy had no. My dad has no style. I love you, Dad, but he has no style. And he has 3 women in his life, his 2 daughters, his wife. And we kind of like the stuff we like to see my father in and the stuff my mom likes to see her husband in, we buy those clothes for him. So for Father's Day, Christmas, his birthday, we be hooking him up with a good wardrobe. Like, look, throw them jeans away that you had 20 years ago. They flooded and they faded. Get rid of them. That's that's my
That's
dad.
that's your dad.
Joey got receipts.
Pops used to have a beard. I remember.
Yes. So he had a beard years ago, but my dad doesn't have a beard anymore. And
Hey, see,
he is
hey,
clean
hey, he look,
shaven.
hey, he look like a young stunner back then. See, mom was like, "Nah, shave that off." Man, that's like Delilah shaving off Samson's hair. Man, she just made him weak. That's what I see.
So
Hey,
I'm
brother
saying,
Baskerville, don't let her do it to you no more, man. Hey, grow it
hey,
back.
look, but they got 30 years in, so whatever she doing is working, So I ain't gonna hate on her.
You know
But
what?
what
I'm
I'm
not
saying,
married. Don't listen to me.
exactly, I ain't either. I'm divorced. So in saying that, I'm saying women, we can doctor our men up, and then we see potential when it comes to physical stuff. Like, oh, if he's skinny or if he this is there, we see a lot of potential. Whereas for men, it's like if you don't have the potential up front, I ain't fooling with you. If you don't look a certain way that is appealing to my eye, I'm not fooling with you. And I feel like when they do that, they end up missing out on a good woman. So give me your take on the physical part when it comes to, because you are a man, and I would like
I
to
am.
hear your thoughts.
I am a man.
It's gonna be tough, but you can do this.
Yeah. So so looks definitely matter. Um a lot to men, right? And I mean they matter to women too. You know, maybe not as much
Right.
in a general sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um one thing I've said is like this, and I think most men would agree. Most women would probably agree as well. The difference between men and women as far as how we perceive physical beauty as it relates to wanting to be in a relationship with a person. If a woman finds a man to be physically unattractive, given the right circumstances, that man may be able to win over a woman's heart, that woman's heart.
Absolutely.
Maybe he has money. Maybe he just treats her really well. He lavishes her with, just gifts and compliments or whatever it is. Men, a lot of times, even though physically unattractive, because we see it all the time, especially men that have money, he can win over a woman that is not attracted to him, right? A man, on the other hand, can look at a woman, and this, again, this is, I believe, the majority of the time. If a woman is unattractive, it does not matter how much money she has, how sweet she is, how kind she is, how well she would potentially treat him. If he is not attracted to her, the likelihood is she has no chance, right? She just probably has no chance. And if I'm not even gonna go there. Never mind. Let's just say she really realistically has basically no chance. I always like to go back to Jacob,
Your favorite, yes.
with Rachel and Leah. You know what I'm saying? Leah was tender eyed, right? she 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 was tender eyed, she was probably cockeyed,
She was, bless her heart. She was
yeah,
that.
bless her
Bless her
heart,
heart.
and her Jacob was hot. I was like, no, cuz like I don't want her. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want that, but he
Right.
worked 14 years. He worked 14 years for baby sis because she was looking right. You know what I'm saying?
I hate
It
you.
was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I worked in mess for 7 years. Just make sure you know what I'm saying.
All right,
Make,
minister.
make,
Move on.
make sure you let me holler at that though. You know what I'm saying? And so my point is that it's it's biblical. Men are just
What?
it's biblical. Men are shallow. It's
No.
biblical.
That's
It's
not.
biblical. It's biblical. Hey, accept it. It is biblical.
It is not
Men,
biblical.
men are
That
shallow.
is your
It is Shay.
interpretation of the scripture.
I just gave you scripture. I just gave you Bible. If
But
it ain't, hold
let's
on,
just
Shay. If it ain't chapter and verse,
it's shadow mercy. Yeah, we know. But who's to say beauty is in the eye of the beholder?
right?
Who's to say if Rachel wasn't? What if it was like a Beyonce versus a Kelly Rowland? It's your preference.
But they both
So,
look good.
but
That's different.
maybe
That's not
no
the same.
to you to Jacob, Beyonce might look like and he's in love. Like, oh, Kelly is fine. You don't know. We don't know how she looked.
But
We
Leah,
just know she was tender
she was tender eyed.
to Jacob.
No, the Bible says she was tender
The
eyed.
Bible's okay, but
The
did
Bible
God say
says she
that?
was ugly.
The Bible said it, but that was Jacob's interpretation.
She probably looked like the old witch from the cartoon with the long chin and the big mole with the hair coming out of it.
That's
Like
nasty.
she was not attractive. To you know what I'm saying? The Bible says she was tender-eyed. You know what I'm saying? She was tender-eyed.
We get it.
You know, listen, men being shallow is biblical. Men, it's biblical. Don't worry about it. You good.
So are you saying that men have the right to be shallow because it's biblical?
I said it was biblical, Shay. It's biblical.
You didn't answer my question.
Shay, I said it's biblical.
Do men have the right to be shallow?
Men being shallow is biblical. We're going to leave it at that.
See? Y'all heard it.
It's biblical.
It's spiritual.
It's biblical. I didn't say it. Anyway, so men, you know, seriously though, men are physical, visceral, whatever. Is that the right term? I hate using terms and I don't have an exact definition. Anyway.
Well, don't use them then.
Huh?
I said, well, don't use them then.
Right. So men need, I think men need to be physically attracted. Men aren't as accepting of women who they aren't physically attracted to, right? Now, what's physically attractive? That varies. I think you had mentioned beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So like you had mentioned, like the whole
Beyonce versus Kelly.
Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, right? Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, well, shoot, they both look good, right? Like you said, to me, very true. You know, there are some men that are going to find Beyonce more attractive. There's some men that are going to find Kelly Rowland more attractive, right? So we all have different tastes, right?
Right.
Some men like women who are skinny or thin. Other men might like a big girl, you know, thick. You might like them thick. You know, you might want a woman with a little meat on her bones, right? Some guys are into women who are fit, you know, and into fitness.
Wait a minute. It's like you preaching into fitness.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry.
So, you know, I mean, there's complexion and hair and different things. So, right. So everybody's attracted to something different, right? We all have our preferences, right? Now, there is a difference between a preference and a demand, you know, but we all have our preferences, right? But men need to be attracted to the woman they're with. And I think there are situations, well, I know there are situations where men get into relationships with women who they aren't physically attracted to. And as a woman, or if you're a woman, I should say, um, that's not a situation you want to be in. If a
The
man,
woman shouldn't want to. So
she
you're
should,
saying I shouldn't want to be with someone who's not attracted to me?
yes,
Of course,
because
I definitely
because
agree with that.
the likelihood is he's not going to treat you the
Treat
same.
you right. Yep.
You know, he's
Mm-hmm.
if a man is with you and he's not attracted to you, the question then becomes, why is he
Why
with
is he
you?
with you? Yep.
I'm asking this question as a man because
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, if I'm not attracted to a woman, why would I be with her? So is it because she has money, and is it because maybe I don't and she does and she provides? Is it because she caters to me and does whatever I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
She cooks, she cleans, she, if we're married, she's giving it to me whenever I say let's do it. Like there's something that I'm with her for,
I have a
right?
question.
Okay.
My question is: you have two women. One you're attracted to, and that's the only thing you like about her, her physical.
Mm-hmm.
The other person, you're not attracted to her at all. Not even a little bit. You're just not attracted to her. But she has all the qualities you want in a woman. Which one are you choosing?
There's a saying, tell the truth and shame the devil.
So you're choosing the person who only you're attracted to.
I mean, I'm gonna probably just stay single, but if given and she's like she has no redeemable physical qualities at all, that's tough.
Yeah. And then the person that you're attracted to, she's not smart. Her personality kind of like turns you off. You guys don't have anything in
Well,
common.
so
Like,
that caveat makes it tough because it's like if her personality turns me off, then she's no longer that attractive. I mean, like so a woman, so the thing. Okay, so let me say this: there's levels to how
to it.
shallow a man can be, right?
Okay, to break it down.
There's
That's what
levels
I
to
need you
this.
to do. Break it down.
There are women. Okay, so I don't know if you mentioned it on one of the shows or if it was just one of our pre-show talks, but you mentioned how there was that video that went around on social media where they're asking guys, BBLs or natural bodies.
Oh, right. And they were saying natural.
Natural, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you read in the comments, because that's where you get the regular people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You read in the comments how women didn't believe it, but men are like, nah, that's true. There's a difference between who I want to be with and who I want to sleep with. Right. So men will see
Wife versus the.
men will see the
Okay.
the boob job and the BBL,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be physically attracted, but that's really all it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most times, the physical attraction will be there. He'll want to sleep with her, right? But that doesn't mean he wants to be with her. There are a lot, and I think we've discussed this before. There are situations, a lot of times, where a man will he'll only want to sleep with you. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be with you. He might find you attractive enough, or it might just be you're easy enough to sleep with, but that doesn't mean he wants to commit to you, right? So there's levels to shallowness, right? Looks matter, but they're not
To a
for
certain
most
extent.
men, they're not the be all end all thing, right?
Oh, really? And
Yeah,
I'm not even being sarcastic. I really thought like that's what you guys lead with, and then you guys just accept everything else that comes with it.
no,
Like she's cute, okay, then I'll just deal with
no.
whatever I gotta deal with.
No, I mean, no. Now let me be clear. There are some scenarios, some men that's true, right? If you are, just to be, just to use the most crass term, if you just an ugly dude, you ugly cuz, and you've been ugly cuz your whole life. You never had a glow up. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You never got buff and grew out your beard. You just ugly cuz for life. And maybe you have maybe you have a complex about how you look. So
Mhm.
I need validation. And the only way I'm going to receive that is with a woman who looks really good, or at least I think looks really good.
Mm.
So ugly cuz out here looking for dime pieces only, and everybody else looking like who he think he is. He ain't all.
For real. Like,
But guess what? If he got money, if he got a nice car, if he got a nice place, if he's upwardly mobile and progressive, he got finances, ugly cuz gonna get him a dime. She might be the most dry, bland, no character, no personality having, don't
just
want
like,
nothing
oh,
but his
whatever you
money.
like. Right.
Right. She don't want anything but his money. But he's okay with that, and he'll provide her with whatever she wants because she looks good enough to where he feels validated as a man.
I have a friend, I have a family member whose friend is like that. She is younger than me, but she likes old men. Like, she wants to live that soft life. But she's the woman who's like, I want an old man, like 20 plus years. I will cook for him. I will look good for him. I will be that trophy that he wants me to be. I will do whatever it takes for me to stay home and not have to work and for him to take care of me. And it's some men out there, like you said, who want that. They want the trophy wife. I go home and make the bacon. I mean, go out and provide and come home. I got the sexy wife. I got food ready for me. She gonna do what we gonna do, for our nightcaps, and I'm gonna have a good time and repeat itself over and over again. So you do have people out there who is like, they put it out there. This is what I want, and this is what I'm gonna get. And some people are accepting of that. And if
Right.
that's what you accept, I mean, that's what you accept.
Right. And that's the thing. Even the term trophy wife, like think about it. What is a trophy? A
It's
trophy is just
shiny.
it's shiny. It sits on a shelf for everybody to
Mm-hmm.
see, but
See,
it serves no real purpose.
purpose.
Right? There's no
Bring it,
need.
bring it
There's
home,
no
bring it
need
home.
for it. Right? There's no need.
Yes.
It doesn't serve a purpose. The only purpose it really serves is just it's
To look
just
at.
a display. It's just something to look at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so there are men that just want that. They want that shiny trophy wife for everybody to see. Even though she doesn't bring much of anything to his life, but she is just that. She is somebody to look at, right? I receive validate and see the trophy means you accomplished something, right? So she was your accomplishment.
Wow.
I was able to pull this baddie. Look at me. Look what I did. Well, what do you love about her? Man, look at her. What do you love about her? Man, look at her. What do you, but what about her? Man, look at her. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all you care about. Right. So because she's a
Mm.
trophy, right? She doesn't bring anything to the table for you other than that validation. So there are those, I think those are extreme cases, but there are cases, right? Men
Mhm.
tend to be shallow, but there's levels to it. Now, like for me, I went to a high school out here in LA for a couple years. Westchester High was known for having the good looking girls, right? And it was true. But man, when I went to that school, I realized in a very short period of time, looks aren't everything.
Everything.
It's like, man, you could be the baddest chick in the school and get on my last nerves because you just have a crappy personality. You might be mean or you're selfish or so while you look very, very good, looks looks are not everything, right? It's not everything. It's like so with most men, he needs to be attracted to you, right? But then after he's physically attracted, then what else is there to you?
Right.
Right? Are you somebody that um I want to be with, or are you just somebody that I want to lay with?
Mhm.
You know,
So how do we bring it home for our viewers as far as like the things of God? And a lot of times we get in trouble with these friendships as well. because you have some friends too who, you know, if you're not making this, I have a friend like that. Like she's very just flashy. Everything has to be name brand. It's just, and I'm not that person. Like I've never been that person who's flashy. If I have nice things, no one would know. Or if name brand stuff, I'm not putting stuff on display. But how do we bring it home as far as, because like on your post, you were saying how you brought the scripture, First Samuel 17:16 and 7. The Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. So how do we prioritize the things of the heart instead of being shallow on what are you bringing to the table? How do you look? How much money do you make? Is it benefiting me? How do we reel it in for our viewers? What's the takeaway?
Well, obviously, when it comes to God, that's a spiritual thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to reconcile the spiritual and the natural because we're still here on earth. We're still living in a world where money matters. Looks unfortunately matter to people, right? So how do we reconcile that? Number one, I think one of the first things we have to do is not worry about what other people think.
Yes.
If I'm so concerned with other people's opinions, I'm gonna have a hard time in life because
Mm-hmm.
everybody got a brain and everybody has a thought. And
Yep.
if I'm worried about what everybody thinks about what I have going on, um, it's gonna make it difficult for me. Like one of the things that I've said as far as like my relationships, I don't like discussing my relationships with people unless I feel like a real need because our brains are essentially, you know, organic computers.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I see, touch, taste, hear, feel, I have to process that. It's like the keystroke on a computer. It seems minimal or it seems like it's not that big of a deal. But every time I click on my computer, what I'm saying, any little keystroke, my computer has to process it. If my computer is taking a long time to process a task and I hit the enter button 20 times and I'm just like, come on, man, hurry up, hurry up. You just gave that computer 20 more commands to process. And our brains are no different. The more information I hear, the more information I have to process. If you like the person I'm with, you're going to tell me positive things. And maybe I end up staying with that person even though I'm not happy because you've said all these good things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't like that person and you said negative stuff and now I'm forced to process it and I break up with the person even though what you said may not be true. I'm happy in this relationship, but because I was forced to process negative things, now I break up with them because now I'm not happy. I'm looking at them different. I'm feeling different, right? Because I was forced to process information. Now, I'm not saying, no, in the multitude of counsel, there's safety.
Right.
I'm not suggesting not to receive counsel if needed, but you, in the context of what we're talking about here today, you have to you can't let other people's thoughts and opinions control everything you do, right? Get other people's thoughts out of your head and you have to think for yourself. Don't worry about what other people think or feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you have to, and again, this is a Christian podcast, so let's make it spiritual, right? You have to prioritize the things of God and you have to develop that relationship with him. And why? Well, why would things that matter to God matter to you if God doesn't matter to you? If your relationship with him isn't solid, it isn't strong, then why is godliness going to matter to you? Why is a
Mm-hmm.
gentle spirit going to matter to you? Why is kindness going to matter to you? Why is humility going to matter to you? When your relationship with God becomes strong, then what matters to him begins to matter to you.
To you.
right?
Absolutely.
So you have to develop that relationship with him so that you can begin to see things the way he sees things. Does that mean, you're going to end up with the less attractive woman, or a woman that you're just completely unattracted to because she's a sweet kind? Probably not.
Right.
Probably not. Could it happen? Sure. With God, all things are possible, right? But the likely the likelihood is probably not, right?
Right.
But maybe you choose better. Well, a matter of fact, not maybe, you'll choose better because you've developed that relationship with the Lord, right? Because now the things that matter to him matter more to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing. It's like you have to get people's thoughts and opinions out of your head, think for yourself. And most importantly, you have to develop that relationship with the Lord so that the things that matter to him begin to matter to you. And what matters to him matters most.
Most. Amen. It's funny you said that because I was telling you how recently my mindset has changed to like, Lord, I want to desire the things, let my desires line up with your will. And in saying that, I was with someone who wasn't the will of God for me. He looked like the trophy guy, tall, thin, muscular, the chocolate guy, like everything, the package was shiny, right? But because I'm prioritizing my relationship with God, I have to shut it down because that's not what the Lord wanted for me. And a lot of times we get into these situations because we're being shallow. Oh, it looks good. He looks good. He treats me right. But just because it looks good, everything that's shiny isn't always gold. You remember that? So it's like, yeah, prioritize holiness, prioritize the things of God. Are your desires lined up with his will for your life? And if they aren't, then you have to reconsider and think about even friendships you entertain as well, not just relationships. And then we won't get into being shallow and thinking of stupid stuff that doesn't take a relationship far. It doesn't take a relationship anywhere because we're thinking on carnal things and not more of the spiritual things. So in saying that, minister, are our hearts and mind clear?
I believe so.
Well, this is the Use Your Power podcast. I am just Shay.
It's your boy Joey.
And we will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.